Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? What is it that you've been able to tap into that has given you the ability to step in, not only to the endurance thing, but if you rewind, you go back to kind of like mile one, like what was that about?
Yeah. So, I mean, at the core, curiosity is a big part of what drives me. Kind of like the kid like wonder that wants to know how high you can climb, how far you can go if you could reach that thing. And so I love endurance because it puts me in touch with that ability to just get curious. But um I mean, the truth is I've done like way bigger challenges than running 1 mile, but I still feel to this day my first mile was the hardest. And it's only gotten easier. And I will say that, who, not everyone's going to be a runner or do these things. And it really doesn't matter. But for me, it's kind of like, who are you becoming through endurance? And endurance has definitely shown me how, I mean, this is kind of how I describe endurance is suffering gracefully
Mhm.
um and really leaning into that discomfort and feeling the sense of accomplishment that to get in touch with your own inner strength and your own inner resolve and just it's a beautiful thing. You finish an endurance challenge and you can start to look at everything a little bit differently. And this whole idea of I never thought I could do something and now I can, everything just gets bigger and infinite possibilities. And so I would say like one of the core things that endurance has shown me, especially with mindset, is if you want to make things hard for yourself, just keep repeating, this is so hard. This is so hard. Why does this feel this way? And um, there's almost a dissociation that happens in endurance that you're almost just observing, not reacting, and um, having that choice and realizing that you have that choice through those painful experiences and just constantly reinforcing this belief that like it is possible and this isn't hard. Like that's really, a lot of doing hard things. I just repeat that, oh, this isn't that bad. This is not hard. And I could be losing toenails and but I mean, it's not going to make it easier if I just keep whining to myself. But um, yeah.
There's an interesting aspect of the evolution of your mindset when you put yourself into these situations. And as someone who literally sitting, and I know no one cares about this, sitting here sans a toenail from a training that I'm currently doing, I was thinking to myself, this is nonsensical, right? To some extent, because it's like, what is the point of pushing yourself
Yeah.
like this? What is the point of doing this? And it dawned on me, I was in the middle of running my first marathon and it really hit me. I was like, oh, I'm only doing this to prove to myself that I can do it. There's
Yeah.
nothing else involved in this. But you said something beautiful because I agree with this wholeheartedly. And it's something that I speak about on this show a lot. Like suffering is a part of the human experience. And suffering gracefully, I think, is very difficult because we do seek and look for accomplishment, but often, and you know this, failure is inevitable. And so, how do you, in this one hand, suffer gracefully, which I like now want to get tattooed on me because I think that's really powerful. And on the other hand, know that you're not always going to cross the finish line.
Okay. I mean, this is kind of me being brutally honest. I have people who will say, I just ran this far. And my first thing is saying, like, say just this to someone who can't walk. Say just this to someone who would do anything to run that flow or do that little. And so going at gratitude, I mean, there's no loss when you come over you're not doing things from a lack, you're doing things out of an overflow of joy. But I mean, I will say that in my early days, failure was mainly like not going fast enough and enough or, and I've learned to, I have some freedom from that and perspective on that and knowing that um, you know, it's a part of the process, and failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it, and, yeah, there's definitely, like, I just rollerbladed across the Florida Keys, tore my ACL, I've, broken my pelvis, and done I mean, if you do these challenges enough, of course, that kind of thing is going to happen, but you really just have to not take it so personally and really find a way to always see positive, like, as soon as my ACL was torn, I asked my physical therapist, like, "How many, tendons and ligaments do we have?" And he's like, "Oh, over 900." So I calculated and I'm like, "Oh, 99.8% of me is okay, and all 100% of my, organs and bones are great." And so, yeah, there's always a silver lining, um, and that's always worth our attention, and not taking failure personally and knowing that everyone does it. And it's really, I mean, the biggest failure is to not try at all. And as long as you're learning and growing, I mean, that's really what this is all about, learning and growth. And so the biggest failure and the only failure is to sit on the sidelines. And I don't know. I just love that quote, like the man in the arena, where it doesn't matter if you're not reaching it. You're the one in the arena trying. So that's the person who deserves the credit,
Yeah.
regardless of the outcome.